Do you have any big plans for the weekend?
Um, Not really. I'm trying to even think. I no, just
Yeah.
typical chores and stuff around the house. And Garrett and I are trying to be very good about routinely doing weekly date nights. So I think one of our nights we're gonna have a date night, but I have no idea what we're doing yet. I'm sure it'll be a surprise. How about you?
We might actually be coming down by you. My daughter's looking for a place to live for her new career. So we might be shooting down your way. So hopefully, maybe we'll stop by. Maybe we'll see you.
That would be great. That's exciting.
So, so we have our latest podcast for Wealthy Empowerment Network, and this is episode 4. Implement, do it now with baby steps. So, what I did is write basically kind of a chapter in a book style. And I thought maybe the two of us could read through it and then stop and share some information with our viewers and for each other so we can share some stories and see how we're feeling about the step of implementation. How does that sound?
I'm excited about it. I'm sure everybody else is just as excited as we are about it.
I think it's a good step. Okay, so you've made all these great plans. Now what? There's this disease that I suffer from. It's called paralysis by analysis. And I'll not only explain, but admit I have quite the affliction. So many times I get so excited to start something new and I'm all ready to make really big changes that I've spent all this time preparing. And yet, we have the planning, the calculating, the writing down all the steps. I love that part. I take the time and the effort to get the shit done. Then comes time to make it happen. Implement. Take the first step. So, and tomorrow comes and I immediately start doing the same old thing, following my same old routine. Did I purposely forget all of my plans? I don't think so, but maybe. Tomorrow comes and goes, and the next day comes and goes. And the weeks and the months come and go. Before I know it, it's so much later. So much time has passed, and I'm in the exact same position that I was when I began. So, and if I'm being 100% honest with myself, I feel like I'm fully immersed in this failure mindset. So I wonder, is it even worth thinking that I can make this dream happen after all? For me,
Stop that. Stop it right now, Liz. You've got this. You know we can do it, and we've got it. One thing, just one step, one baby step is all we're talking about. For all of you overachievers out there, you may be one of some of the lucky ones. You're already well into the steps that many of us are kind of, waiting to implement on our own, thinking about, worrying about, considering, procrastinating on, as we tend to do. So, for those of you that are already well into this step, great job. Keep it up. You're doing awesome. We applaud you. For the rest of us who tend to struggle and procrastinate, there is a strategy that Liz and I have talked about. I've made fun of over the years, but I think it's a great one. There is a quote that explains the best method of accomplishing tasks is usually trying to complete the first one first. It's called eat that frog. Eat the frog first. This basically means that you are tackling the most difficult thing, the most difficult task of your day, first thing in the morning. Now, I struggle with this one. I think most people do. But the reality is, I think we all know if we are going to tackle something difficult first thing, first thing in the morning, it's all downhill from there. We can skate through the rest of the day. It makes all the rest of your tasks look incredibly simple and much, much easier. Plus, personally, I found if I do something like this, it tends to give me the motivation because I've already accomplished something really difficult to say, oh, I got this. So, right, Liz, we got this.
okay, for those of you who thrive in that type of environment, awesome. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. But however, that is not me. Sorry. Have I ever told you I'm not a morning person? On top of that, I also consider myself a master procrastinator. It's true. Even though I get up relatively early during the week, I'm typically up by 6 a.m. I know some people get up earlier than that. and usually 7 a.m. on the weekends, unless I'm really short on sleep. My first tasks of the day are I brush my teeth, I make my first of 2 cups of coffee, and then I literally climb back into bed. Yep, that's right. I don't get up and go for a daily run or immediately get in the shower like a lot of people I know. Disclosure, stop judging me.
No judgment.
I'm not suggesting or recommending this to anyone. This is what I found to work for me.
Well, let's stop and think about this. For many people out there who have become very, very highly successful, who run incredibly successful businesses, and they kind of have this mentality also. I mean, just look at Jeff Bezos. He specifically says he does not take any meetings before 10 a.m. His mornings are his. There are many, many motivational speakers I know, very successful entrepreneurs, that they say their morning hours are sacred to them, and this is when they have to set themselves up for success throughout the day. So there's nothing wrong with this. If this is what works for you, know that other people out there follow this exact same routine or similar type of routine where their mornings are protected. And I think that's okay.
I do. I did hear Jeff Bezos speak several years ago, and in his laughing, humorous way, he talked about how he doesn't take meetings before 10 a.m. That was a big aha moment for me, where I actually started to realize that I can kind of disrupt the status quo. Now, granted, we own our own businesses, we manage our time the way we see fit. We did have careers, where we had to be at work at certain times and certain things. But when you do begin to have that flexibility, I think COVID helped that a lot, with the hybrid work arrangements, with the working from home. I'm personally a big fan of that because I do feel that if you are a person who takes a lot of personal responsibility, takes a lot of pride in getting things done, which we both do, then I do think, and if you listen to your body and your physical self, your spiritual self, your emotional self, I think you do find what tends to work best for you. So I'm back in my bed, meditating about the day to come, checking out the news headlines, and enjoying or struggling through a few of the free New York Times puzzles that I love to do every day. And just as a side note, a bunch of my family members have a fun and merciless, sometimes humorous, daily competition of the New York Times Wordle and Connections games. I actually think, anybody who's worried about their aging minds, I think it's a good way to start your day and kind of gets you going in a right direction. Again, sometimes a little frustrating, but sometimes kind of fun too. And I get to say good morning to my family members who are scattered across the country too. So again, back in the bed, I'm struggling, what am I doing? What works best for me? Should I be on the treadmill or heading out the front door for a run? The answer is it depends. And in our line of work, we say that a lot because everybody's different. So you need to find out what helps you to get motivated each day and in what order to do them in.
Absolutely. I agree completely. You need to figure out what it is that's going to get you moving in that right direction. And we've talked about this a lot. And going back to wanting to be disruptors with how things are done, I know that we're really not the first to start thinking this, but it's still considered a non-traditional form of work. I think that we've all been taught, many of us have been raised that the early bird gets the worm. So there's a lot of pressure to get up and jump right into that first meeting and make sure that you are getting out there before anybody else can. And we are taught or told this is what's going to make you successful. But I think what it does for many of us is it tends to wear us down. It creates exhaustion. It sets the tone for frustration and disappointment in a way that makes it harder for us to tackle our tasks throughout the day. So for me personally, what I like to do is I think a lot of my motivation and energy comes from obviously my physical energy as well as my mental health energy. So I need to do things that are reading motivational quotes and books to start the day. Liz, I know you like to do a lot of this as well. But for me, if I am going through that process of reading how somebody else is getting motivated and seeing it is possible. They can do it. That is what inspires me to kind of get that jump start. I also like, I'm not going to do an intense workout first thing in the morning, but I like to do things that kind of get my blood flowing and get kind of, I feel like I can breathe a little bit more easily. So whether it's stretching or a little bit of yoga, I like to be out in the sunshine. So sometimes just stepping outside, spending the first 10, 15 minutes outside, even when it's cold, I will bundle up and go outside with my dog and just stand outside. And I kid you not, one of the great things about, I think, having pets is they tend to remind us to be a little bit more lighthearted about things. Like my dog, Jackson, greets the day every single morning with so much joy and so much anticipation for the day. And I look at him and I think, I know you're going to spend like 80% of the day just laying around the house, but somehow he jumps up every morning with this enthusiasm to run outside and sniff the grass and, get his morning breakfast. And I think that that's just such a wonderful reminder for me. Even when I'm exhausted and it's the last thing I want to do in the morning, it does make me laugh. And when I stand outside with him and I'm breathing in the fresh air and I see him doing his zoomies back and forth in the yard, to me, I think it's just a great reminder of, you know, we can do hard things. And I think that everybody is able to accomplish whatever we set our minds to do. And so sometimes it's just whether it's seeing it in others, seeing it in a pet, seeing it in you're reading an inspirational book, that is what kind of gets me excited and motivated to get going, as well as taking the time to, I think, replenish my mind and my body to get started for the day. So that's kind of how I like to start tackling my mornings. It's not exactly specific with like, I do this first and then this and then this, but it's some combination of knowing that I'm checking in with all those different areas of myself before I'm sitting down and starting to check emails or logging in for my first meeting. And funny, now we just say logging in for a meeting as opposed to driving and showing up. I mean, we do still have in-person meetings, but so many things are done virtually that I think that you have to it's far too easy for us to walk in, sit down in front of our computers and just start plugging away for the day. But I don't think that that is what's healthiest for most of us. I don't think that's what's going to serve most of us best to reach that point of success. So I think that if we all kind of find our own ways to kickstart the day that is enjoyable for us, it makes everything else that we have to do for the rest of the day a little bit easier to tackle those tasks.
I definitely find for me, if I write down what I want to accomplish during the day, or even if there's something random that's coming down in the week and whatever it is, then I search my daily schedule for a time slot. And even if it's something personal and not an actual client meeting, I block specific time for that specific task. Just like an important client meeting, and then you label the time just as you would. So you don't just say block time. That's just too ambiguous and it's too easy to give yourself an excuse out. So label the time just as you would any other important meeting. And then I do find if I do that, when I do that, it's not perfect, but I definitely have more success when I do that than when I don't. Also, I find that when I'm willing, because sometimes you're embarrassed to share, but when I find that when I share what I'm going to do with a supportive, and that's key, a supportive friend or family member, I find not only that does it help me to follow through, but I typically actually get positive feedback as well. So even with us doing the podcast, I share it with my daughters or I share it with my sisters, a few key clients, and it's really been very, not only rewarding, but it's been empowering that these people are saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to see it," and so forth. So I really have been getting good positive feedback. So that helps me to get over my fear and it helps me to get my day off started. So again, though, that implementing what we're trying to do here is get you closer to your goal every single day, even if it's by the little things, by the baby steps. But again, even the it seems like a very small baby step to be writing your goals down or what you want to get done that day. If you write 10 things down, if you write 5 things down and you get one of them done, you just took a baby step and you took it in the right direction. And that's, I think we have to stick with really giving ourselves some positive feedback for that.
Absolutely. A couple of things that you said that kind of just stuck out to me. I love the idea of labeling things and you saying, if you write it down and you put it in your calendar and you have a blocked out slot for it, you're more likely to accomplish that. I think that that's such great advice because I think we'll stare at it, we'll see it. We may not get it done exactly in that time slot, but if it's there and you see it all day long, I do think it is kind of like, okay, I need to make time for this. I wrote it down because it was important, and I think that that's great. Another thing that I think is so important, and you talked about the positive feedback after you do something, I think that we need to give ourselves the moment to appreciate it and be grateful that we took the time for ourselves to do it. Um, I love the idea of setting reminders in my phone. I do it all the time. I think honestly, for some people, it might be a bit overwhelming if they saw all the different reminders, but I will set reminders for later on the same day. I will set them from a year from today. But the nice thing for me is because if I'm not staring at a calendar all day, I won't see it. But, like it, love it, or hate it, our phones have become, additional appendages for us. So they're not too far off. And if I have that little bling pop up on my phone and I see it right there, oh yeah, I said I was going to do this today. Oh yeah, I need to follow up with this today. I need to make time to actually accomplish this thing for me today. For me, that is almost like my accountability partner at certain times. And even if I am struggling with getting that task done or taking the time to do something for myself, if I leave it on my phone, I don't dismiss it. I don't ignore it. I just let it sit on my screen because every time someone calls, every time a text pops up, every time I look at my phone, it's still there and I won't clear that reminder until I've accomplished that task. So for me, it's almost like I can't get rid of this. It's going to stare me in the face until I do it. So whether it's taking the time to get on my Peloton or go out and take a walk with the dog, I will say, as difficult as those things can be to take the time to do it, every single time once I've done it, once I finish, I am it is really rewarding. I feel this sense of joy and accomplishment, and I'm proud of myself for having done it. And it's such a great feeling. And I think that so often, because we're so busy throughout a day, we're very quick to say, yes, I did it. Okay, on to the next thing. I think we need to take 5, 10 minutes and just say, you know what? I'm proud of myself. I'm glad that I did this. I showed up for myself today. I am, that is one of the things that I love about the Peloton instructors. And not to like give like a very specific plug, but I'm gonna here for a minute.
Mhm.
One of the things that I love about it is they all have this very encouraging, motivational attitude. And they remind us when you're starting a workout, when you're in the middle of it, or when you finished it, be grateful you are here right now. Be present in what you are doing. And then when you finish it, take a moment and applaud yourself for what you've just done because it's a big step. And it may be a baby step because you've only done one task. And I don't want to say only and minimize that in any way, but you've accomplished something. Remind yourself that this is a big step. It can be a baby step, it can be a big step all at the same time. But I think that that's something to be proud of. And we need to appreciate those moments and just reward ourselves a little bit. That's okay. Take the time. So,
Well, and I mean, when the second I finish an article, the second I finish
mhm.
a post, I'm right away texting you, guess what I did?
Yeah.
Because I know I'm going to get positive feedback from you. And yeah, I'm proud of myself. So it's, taking those baby steps, taking the big steps, they're all important and they should all be celebrated. One of the things I want to have a shameless plug on because it came in the mail today. This is my um, Silk and Sonder February edition. For those of you who read one of the posts that I made not too long ago, I talked about bullet journaling and Silk and Sonder for my two favorite types of journaling methods. And I've actually stuck to, I have this weird hybrid of both of them because I love my notebook with me all the time, but I also like the Silk and Saunders prompts and daily reflections and just the way that the day timer, or I'm sorry, the journal is laid out. I really like that. It's just fun. Gives you coloring spaces. It gives you a lot of different options. You can be, just plain black pen, or you can get creative. I have my numerous highlighter colors and markers and things like that. So anyways, when it comes to writing things down, use, whatever you have, your notebook, but do it if it's something that you enjoy. The process of picking out a new notebook or a process of having a journal, those are some good couple ones that I like. So, and remember, Rome was not built in a day. I was thinking, I think we were talking about this not too long ago, Erin. Can you imagine the persistence and patience those workers must have had in ancient times to keep going day after day until their job was done? I mean, a lot of them probably never even witnessed the completed project, but they still went back day after day. And probably some of them didn't want to be doing what they were doing. But imagine when you actually have a goal that you do want to be going back to every day. And that's what we really want to be focusing on is, we've talked about your values, we've talked about your priorities, the things that really help you to feel alive and joy. And at the end of the day, this is where we want to be in our lives. I think, though, taking the baby steps, making the effort to take a step every day toward your goal. Don't lose sight, keep positive with finding that silver or pink lining that we like to talk about. I think that's the important thing here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. This is exactly the whole concept behind the baby steps that we continue to talk about. When you talk about not Rome wasn't built in a day, absolutely correct. So we break it down into smaller goals and we celebrate those wins along the way. I think that's one of the best things we can do to stay motivated. But like you said, find your silver lining, your pink lining, whatever your color is. But remember, believe in yourself. You got this. You can do it. Do not let the negative self-talk take over. If you start to, take a pause, take a moment, reset, and say something positive because you deserve that and we believe in you too.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, this is all about balance. We are disrupting the status quo. Our whole goal is to get away from saying you have to stop doing this. You have to only do this. It's an all or nothing, or else you're a loser. That is a dead end direction to go. We're here with you on this journey, and we want to show you that the balance of living a fun life, living a prosperous and an abundant life is possible today, just as well as it's possible to keep planning for your future, a successful future.
Absolutely.
So thanks for joining us again. I hope you made it the whole way, and I hope you're motivated to take those baby steps.
Thank you guys so much. We will see you for the next one. We hope you tune in and listen along. Thanks. Investment advisory services are offered through Wealthy Empowerment Network, an investment advisor in the states of Illinois, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Ohio. Kona Financial Planning and Infinity Wealth Company, LLC are doing business as or DBA names of Wealthy Empowerment Network, LLC. The views and opinions expressed in the podcast are for informational and educational purposes only. Nothing should be construed as personalized advice or recommendation of any kind. It is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decisions. All expressions of opinion are subject to change without notice, and there is no guarantee that any claims made will come to pass. We do not guarantee the accuracy of the information provided. There is no assurance that any investment, plan, or strategy will be successful. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal.